Good morning. My name is Jacob Folger. I'm an artist sculptor, and today we're going to make a cat fairy door. We're going to start off by making the cat, and after we condition and knead the clay, we will roll a ball, and then we'll roll at one end of the ball to form a neck. Next, I'm going to take my two thumbs and I'm going to press into the front of the ball to create the indentations for the beginning of the eyes and the bridge of the nose. And then I'm rolling a little ball to go on the very tip of the bridge of the nose to create the end of the nose. And now I blend that into the face to give it a smooth transition. Next, I'm rolling two balls the same size, and this will be for the whisker area just below the nose. When I have two the same size, I apply them, first one to the left just below the nose and the other to the right just below the nose, and I blend those in. Next, I'm taking a sculpting tool and I'm just cutting in those whisker areas to the nose and to the face. And I'm just shaping it here and blending in. And now I'm adding the lower jaw for the mouth of the cat and blending that in. Adding a little bit more definition to the face there around the whisker area, nose, and mouth with the sculpting tool. I'm going to take a ball tool here. This is a common tool used by polymer clay artists, and I'm going to create eye sockets on either side of the bridge of the nose, relatively close to the whisker area. When I get them to be about the same size, I'll roll two balls, and these will be the eyeballs of the cat. And I just press them gently into place. Here I'm going to use a butter knife, which I find to be a very good tool for putting in the pupils of the eyes. Just using the tip of the tool to make indentations. I'm putting them in a position so that it looks like the cat is looking to the left. The fairy door will be on the left side of the cat, and so I thought it would be cute if he was looking in the direction of the door. Now I'm rolling little noodles to create the eyelids to go over the eyes. Sometimes the way you position the eyelids can make the expression for the cat, whether he's angry, sad, mad, happy. So if you're not sure about that, you can just adjust them by moving them up or down. And then you can blend them in with a tool or your fingers. And I'm just doing a couple adjustments with the tool just to keep the face going in the direction that I want it to go. I'm going to work on a piece of paper that's taped to a board. This will keep the clay from sticking really strong to the board so that I can remove it later when I'm ready to bake it or do further work on it. Now I'm forming the shape of the torso for the cat. And before I join the two parts, the neck and the torso, I score the clay to allow for a better bond between the two parts. And then twist and join them together and blend them in together. I kind of shape it to a cone shape. I'm just running my fingers up and down between the neck and the body, just blending it and giving it a nice smooth transition. Now I'm rolling two balls the same size, and this will be for the hips of the cat. I flatten them slightly. And then I join them to the body of the cat. Blending them in at the back and leaving some definition at the front. He's going to be in a sitting position. And then I shave off any excess that I don't want. Now I'm rolling two balls, and these will be for the back feet to join to the lower part of the hips. They should be about the same size. I roll them into an oblong shape and join them to the hips by blending and pushing and twisting to get them to join and be solid. I flip over the cat, and on the bottom there are gaps that need to be filled in, and I fill them in with my fingers and by blending. Now I'm just making some adjustments and smoothing and blending. Now I'm going to roll two noodles for the front legs. I want them to be about the same size. Once I have them about ready, I put them in place on the front of the body. And then once I have them on, I blend them into the shoulder area of the cat. And along the sides as well. And then I use a sculpting tool to get where I can't reach and do further blending for the legs to the body, just to make them secure and strong. Again, I turn the cat over and fill in any gaps at the bottom of the cat. This just adds to the strength of the sculpture. Just blending and kind of pushing and prodding and shaping the cat the way I want it to be. Now I'm rolling 2 balls, and these will be for the ears of the cat. I want them to be the same size so that they look the same when I put them on his head. I form them to a cone shape and then flatten them a little bit and apply them to the head of the cat. Then I blend them in all the way around. If I can't reach a certain area, I'll use a tool. But my fingers are best for this and for any blending that I do, because my fingers are soft and they don't tend to mar up the sculpture as much. I'm just shaping the ears now to get them the way I want. And now I'll use this sculpting tool and I'll press in on the inside of the ear, creating a little ridge on the top or uppermost part of the ear. This will look more natural. I do that on both ears. Now I'm using the butter knife and I cut off the back of the cat to make it flat on the back. Because this will be part of a fairy door and I want it to be able to sit close to a wall if I want to put it there. So I'm just shaving off the back of the cat, the back of his head, and the back of his body. Then I lay him on my paper, which is taped to the board, again, so that I can free him from the board if I want, without any difficulty. Now I'm rolling a noodle of clay, and this will be for the door frame of the fairy door. Once I get it to the length I want, I set it next to the cat to see how it will look. And then I start to shape it the way I want it to be. In this case, I'm flattening it a little bit. Here I'm using 18 gauge galvanized steel wire. I have a couple pieces already cut, and I'm going to use them as almost like staples to join the door to the cat and make it nice and secure. I'll also do some blending and that sort of thing, and I will do some work also later on in the video to make that more secure. Here I've shaped the beginning of the door that will go inside the door frame. I'm pressing it into place and smoothing it out. By putting this piece of clay in here, it will enable me to sculpt the door. It will also strengthen the door frame and the door itself. I use a tool to blend the door clay into the door frame. And then I cut off the bottom so it's nice and even going across. Here I am just using my finger to blend and give a smooth transition from the door to the door frame. Using a sculpting tool, I carve in lines to give the impression of door planks, of planks of wood, to make up the door itself. And then I carve kind of a seam going around, just so it looks like a door is sitting in the door frame. I roll a small ball of clay, and this will be for a doorknob. But before I apply it, I'm going to add a little Sculpey Bacon Bond. It's an adhesive that can be used to strengthen certain parts that I add to the door. The reason why I use that is to allow me to apply parts to the door without deforming them with my fingers by pushing them into place. Here I'm adding a keyhole. I roll little shapes, and these will be for the hinges of the door. They're kind of like little cone shapes, flattened slightly. Really a fairly simple design. I put them where I want them to see where they go, and then I add a little Bacon Bond to secure them to the door. Again, I don't always use Bacon Bond. I use it when I don't want to deform the clay of the parts that I'm adding by pressing them into place. Here I roll little tiny balls of clay, and I add them to be bolts to hold the hinges in place. Imaginary, of course. But just nice little details that you can add that make it look more realistic. Now I'm making a tail for the cat, trying to decide where I want to put it, and then adding it to the cat. So I have it curving up and around. Now I'm turning the cat's head so that he's looking at the door. Just adding a little bit more life and whimsy to the sculpture. And just making some adjustments, smoothing here and there, blending here and there. I'm using another piece of wire to secure the tail to the body of the cat. I just push it into place, sink it in a little ways with my fingernail, and then heal up the mark that it made. Now I'm using a sculpting tool to sculpt in the appearance of hair on the cat. Just basically drawing lines. But I do pay attention to how I put the lines in. I want it to look like it's naturally the hair of the cat. I especially pay attention to this on the face of the cat and what direction the hair is going. Just taking my time, going around. Right now I'm doing the tail, and then I'll start the face. Now watch how I do the face. So I do his whiskers first, then I work my way up. And the direction of the hair, the way I'm drawing the lines or sculpting the lines into the clay is important here. Now sometimes when you use your tool on the clay, like drawing lines like this, it will make the clay flare up. So when you're done, you can just pat the sculpture to kind of press down the little parts that are standing up. And I'll be doing that in a moment. I work my way all the way around the sculpture and get wherever I can with the sculpting tool. It would look funny if I missed some, because some parts would be smooth and some parts would not. Now I'm patting it again just to make that clay lay down that was flared up. Cleaning the bottom edge of the door. And touching up here and there. Now I'm adding a little bacon bond to the door, and I'm going to press his head, the cat's head, into that so that his head is secured to the door, and then again adding a wire staple from through his ear into the door. This will keep the door secured to the body of the cat. I add 2 staples here. Now I'm adding also a little bacon bond where his tail joins the body of the cat. And I use a brush to clean up any excess. Just trying to make everything strong and sturdy as I go. Now I'm using the bottom of a box that has a right angle, 90-degree right angle, and I'm holding it to the bottom of the cat and the fairy door to make sure it's straight across. I'm using Pearl Pigments to do the finish. And this is the color silver. I'm putting it on the door and the hinges. And I'm also putting it on the cat. To me, it kind of makes the cat look a little bit like a black cat with silver highlights. kind of an artistic view to the color silver. I'm applying it with a brush. I dip the brush into the silver and then I pat the brush on the table or a paper towel to get it to kind of become somewhat subdued on the brush so that when I apply it, it's not too bright. After cleaning the brush on a rag, I am applying bronze now to the door frame. And now I'm going to use spring green on the door, give it a nice green door. This finish is applied before you bake it, so that when you bake it, it actually bakes into the clay and makes it very durable. Now I turn the sculpture around, and if you notice there's some gaps where we join certain pieces of clay. These gaps should be filled in. It will make the sculpture a lot more sturdy. So I want to use some really soft clay, so I knead the clay really good, and then I fill these gaps up. Not only do I lay clay in, but I also blend it in with my fingers or a tool to make it secure in a smooth transition all the way around. And then when I'm finished with this, I'll apply my finish. Usually for something like the back of the sculpture, I would just do like a straight bronze finish on it, antique bronze or the silver. If you're having trouble doing this, you can bake your sculpture first and then come back and fill in the gaps after it's hard and then bake it for 15 minutes longer. Sometimes it's a little hard to do this because the sculpture is moving around and it's soft and kind of bending here and bending there. So if that's a problem with you, just keep that in mind. If you're new to this type of thing, please keep in mind that it takes a little bit of time to learn, and practice is great. You can practice as much as you can on different projects. Get yourself used to using tools and your hands, and above all, be patient with yourself. That's the main thing. Be patient with yourself. If you need to take breaks, if you get frustrated, you need to take breaks, you can do that. Just take a break and walk away, and then come back when you're feeling more comfortable. I decided that I wanted his eyes to be green, so here I'm doing the spring green on his eyes. And that is how you make a cat fairy door. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel. I have nearly 500 videos all about sculpting clay and polymer clay, self-hardening clay, and even wire. Also, please like the video, give it a thumbs up, and tell me what you think of it. And leave me a comment or question in the comment section. Also, keep in mind that I do make things for people, and if you'd like something made just for you, just let me know, and visit my art shop. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.